Howdy peeps. So it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video, and right, so this one seemed like I've just been watching videos in like from the manosphere generally, a couple of content creators out there that I watch, and I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff that they've been talking about recently, because why not just dogpile it, right? So the usual thing of, well, dating is difficult. Dating is difficult for guys. Standards obviously just keep going further and further up. You know, it's that living up to an ideal, right? I'm just saying. But anyway, and there's the topic of dating, obviously, like online dating, and some of the expectations that people have from that, like when they blatantly write stuff out there, and yeah, they're making a statement of what they want. For example, you know, if you're not spending 160 quid or $160 or whatever on a date for someone you haven't met, you know, if you're not willing to spend 160, then they're not willing to date you. And some guys will just be like, oh, I've got to earn that extra $160 or quid or whatever just to date this chick, right? But they're not, you know what I mean? They're not seeing the other point. It's like, it's only ever going to escalate. It will start off at 160 quid, right? And then as time progresses, either you've got to keep that, I suppose, level of expectation at that point up, or you're going to lose a chick to someone else that can, air quotes, afford her, right? There's a few things I could say about that whole scenario. Like, it's like, well, if that is, you know, how it's the irony of like not wanting to be objectified, but yet they go ahead and do things like this and don't see it as being a problem. Like, really? Like, you don't see what you're doing here to yourself? Like, you're literally, you know, I'm just saying. But anyway, then there's the scenario of, if it's someone you've met online, you probably don't know a great deal about them. And as has been covered before in the past, the whole situation of chicks going on dates throughout different times of the day with different guys, purely to put food in their belly, right? Because they might be able to afford the rent, but they can't afford meal, you know, a decent meal as well. So again, it goes back to that basic thing of, you know, oh, I really don't want to go there. I'm trying to behave myself, but at the same time, it's like, it is what it is, right? There's no other way you can look around if they are literally doing that. And I suppose it's the dishonesty, you know, and it's why I think this. You see, a lot of guys get encouragement to, you know, dating multiple women, spinning plates, all this, yeah. Now, to me, that's crazy talk. I mean, because you know what I mean, you're not going to be centered. That's what I'm getting at. It's like you're not going to be centered enough, you know, to get to know one person. I mean, look, yeah, it's great for a social life, sure. Or maybe if you found out one of them's like quite happy, you know, friend with benefits or something like that, and that's your kind of lifestyle, and that works for you. And I suppose as long as you're both being honest with each other, that, you know, you're seeing other people or whatever. But again, I mean, for that, you know, because that's when it does become I suppose, the game of, and it's like you end up potentially competing with other guys. It might not turn out quite how you plan it later on anyway, you know, whether you, air quotes, win or lose, and that is subjective as to how you see that. You know, sometimes with some of these chicks, like, actually winning is not dating them, you know, like the situations where you actually really dodge the bullet. I'm just saying, that is a win, absolutely. but digressing back, if you think that you can date a chick for $160, and it's like, well, who's worth $160? Yeah, and again, there's no guarantee that you're going to be going back to hers and I suppose getting your willy wet, as the saying goes, or whatever. There's no real guarantee of that. She might not like something about your personality, then you've got to go ahead and and sure, we've all heard the stories and know about dates walking out on each other and leaving the other person with the bill. And there's valid stories from either side. You meet up with someone, they might have catfished you a little bit. Speaking of catfishing, one of the regular things that I recall seeing on some of these dating apps was let's see if you're lying about your height. So again, it comes into that thing of, if these chicks want a guy that's 6 foot or above, it's not that big a percentage of any population, no matter where in the world you are. Yeah, they are, obviously they exist, they are people, they are real. And again, doesn't necessarily mean that, they haven't gotten married anyway. I'm just saying, someone else, or they're in a relationship with someone else. So that kind of takes them off the list, which then narrows that side of the market down even further. But yeah, seems to be a thing. But again, in response to that, oh yeah, let's see if we're lying about your height. It's like, well, let's see if we're lying about your weight. Of course you say that, and it's sort of like offensive, and oh yeah, you're not allowed to say that, and it's like, well, so something that a guy physically can't change, that being its height. We can't just grow ourselves to 6 foot plus somehow. Oh, no, trust me, ladies, trust me, we'd all be fucking giants if that was the case. All of us, like, we'd all be like, I don't know, 12, 15 foot. It wouldn't even be a competition for you lot. It just trust me, because it's a thing. Because at the end of the day, guys do want, and again, this is subjective. This is something that I often sit back and think, well, what do I want from a relationship? And it's, I suppose, if you're in the market for one, you'd kind of want like easygoing, peace and quiet, not crazy. You don't want the crazy eyes. You don't want the 1,000 cocks there. You know what I mean? And again, even with that, talk about body count now. It's like, I don't know what's going on with some women. I don't know, like, because I mean, if you watch other manosphere channels, like, where they go on and they talk about their body counts, it's like, oof, man, like, not even, like, no, just not, no. But then you look at it from the perspective of, oh, it's this carpe diem that I also saw a lot of, carpe diem, living for the moment, which means going off and doing random things, which in some cases, yeah, can be okay. It depends if you're going out, I want to go out on an adventure, road trip or something like that, yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes, for some reason, people mistake this to become some sort of shagathon, right? You know what I'm saying? And then this is just a whole box of complications just gets opened, right? And it's just like, you could just go on for days with that shit, and it's like, no, I'm good. We've covered it many times. The other thing that has been regarded quite a lot of is guys that have actually been quite selective with their dating choices when it comes to choosing women. And the sort of percentages were quite low for some of the guys. in terms of, you know, swiping right so they like them sort of thing. You know, the potential for turning it into a date and maybe a relationship if it's with the right person. But I think what a lot of guys have come to realise now is that there are certain things that you do have to look out for. Like, you know, most people don't, most guys that I know in real life, not necessarily my friends, by the way, just like acquaintances. For any of my friends, shit, is he talking about me? He's like, no, bro, no, I'm not talking about you. He's talking about someone else I know. But their standards are actually quite low, and in the instance where it's a thing, it's kind of like rightly so, because they themselves aren't a person of value or integrity. Definitely not of integrity. So the chance of landing anything worth having, realistically, unless they put on an act, you know, fake it till you make it, which is unfortunately what a lot of people try doing, but, you know, eventually it all comes out in the wash, man. You just end up looking stupid. I'm just saying, right? It tends to be a thing. The last thing you want to do is look stupid. I suppose, as the saying goes, just be yourself. You know, if you're not compatible with someone, just remember that's fine. There's many, you know, if you're into dating, there's plenty of other people out there. Don't worry about that shit, you know. Just because, you know, you didn't match with one, but at the same time, when you start noticing patterns, and you could argue, well, maybe it's the choices the individual is making towards his other partners that they're attracted to. Yeah, and it's like, it's that thing of crazy. And this is what made me think about this. Is I saw a profile, and it said something along the lines of the things I look out for, red flags, but they were indicating that it was meant in like, they like the bad boy sort of thing, right? So they like all the red flags. And then the funny thing is you can get suckered into that. You know, it is toxic. That is the very beginning, the definition of toxic. You know, like, they're looking out for all the red flags, and it's like, man, you're just as broken as the person you're looking for. You know, it's just a headache. I mean, yeah, like I said before, it's fun for a little while and all that, but long term, man, like, just no. And then there's the possible fight for financial ruin, you know, in terms of 18 years of baby jail, that kind of shit. You know, it just never bodes well. You know what I mean? It's not what a man needs in his life. So then, for the most part, when you sort of look at it and you think, well, you've got all these expectations, you know, just to maybe get a date, maybe. You know, you just ask yourself, well, is it really fucking worth it? You know, you got chicks that have putting prices on themselves, and like I said, that's going to be like inflation, right? That's only ever going to go up. Yeah, they're going to want this, they're going to want that, they're going to want the other. You just have to work harder and harder. Man, they'll just, you know, suck you dry, but not in a way you wanted sucking dry. I'm just saying. So, and when you've got a lot of that going on in there, and guys start seeing it for what it is, you know, the guys actually become real red-pilled, right? None of this other sort of stupidity you may see out there. Once they become actually, you know, red-pilled, the reality of what is out there and what is going on, you know. And I suppose maybe we use the term unicorn, maybe some more loosely than others. But a lot of time you are looking for a unicorn, and they're called a unicorn for a reason. You know, it's the whole no-walt and a walt argument. Not all women are like that, and all women are like that. You know, it's the same sort of mentality. You know, the potential for being left in potential destitute financial ruin. You know, someone does a real Carol Baskin on you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't need that shit in your life. And guys are starting to recognise that and see it for what it is, and this is it. It's like, I'm not going to pay $160 to date anyone. You can go fuck yourself. How about that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I tell you what, right? Like, I'm not buying time with you. Let's get this straight. Like, that is a negotiation right there, right? I'm telling you. Who needs it? Anyway, look, 15 minutes of me just chatting shit about these things that, you know, did sort of humour me when I was thinking about it. I thought, you know what, this would be good for a video. So anyway, look, fuck it, I'm going. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Till the next one, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.